And we're back, folks. And I told you that probably the only thing my first guest and my second guest had in common was federal regulations. And that's probably true, but maybe we won't get into too many of those today. But I want to welcome Mark Fidler with us, and he is director of the Cleveland Regional Jetport.
Good afternoon.
One of the stars of Bradley County. We love it, we love it, we love it. And I've had Mark on the show with me, or another show I did before, kind of as we were getting started. Mm-hmm. But now you are ripping and roaring.
We are a fully functional airport at this time, Nancy. Thanks
Yay.
in no small part to your efforts at the beginning of this process.
Well, I had a ball.
Well,
spending the county and
trust me, there's a lot more work to do, so come back anytime.
Oh, please don't say that to some of my friends that put me on that committee to start with.
But yeah, we had our fourth anniversary, January 25th,
Gosh.
which is hard to believe.
It is hard to believe. I thought we just built that
Time
sucker.
flies when you're having fun, I guess.
Doesn't it though?
But 4 years in January, and last count, as of last week, we now have 63 based aircraft on the field.
Fantastic.
Have different types, jet equipment, some of it's jets, some of it's turboprops, several piston aircraft, recreational and otherwise. Helicopter, of course, everybody's familiar with the services that Erlanger Hospital provides through MedTrans, their Life Force system, which is, they currently have the busiest base in the MedTrans network, which is a large network that's evolved here. They're making on average a little more than 3 trips per day.
Oh, good grief.
Which concerns me that it says either they're in a very lucrative location or we have some very accident-prone people around here.
Absolutely, 3 a day. Ooh, who would have thought? I would have thought maybe 3 a week, but
no, they stay very busy, very busy.
Wow.
It's a 24-hour, 24/7 operation, so they do stay very busy over there. It's a great service.
It is a great service, and it's one I know. They spoke at a Main Street meeting maybe a year ago, passed out these pamphlets for those of us that are not in the city. Mm-hmm. We can sign up for that service, and it's a minimal cost. It's like $70 or something.
It's so cheap that it would be a shame not to take advantage of it.
Thank you, because it's still laying there on my desk to get paid one of these days.
Of course, many people know the residents of the city of Cleveland, by virtue of a contract that the city council signed here, they provide that service at no charge to residents of the city of Cleveland within the confines of Bradley County. So if you need their services, they're there and you can take a ride.
I don't live in the city, so.
But well, don't use their service.
I'm going to try not to. I'm going to try not to. But now, the Jetport, first of all, anybody that has never been out there to see that beautiful building needs to go out there and see it.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely a star in the crown. It's, I think, from having gone with you and several other people around to look at all the airports that we could in Middle and East Tennessee, I think it's the best looking airport around.
Well, coincidentally, you will find that the director of TDOT, as of last week, said this airport is the best in the state.
It's beautiful.
Of course, wasn't compelled to argue with the point with him.
Absolutely not. So, and I remember as we were, as a group meeting about it, we wanted the chalet look, which is what we have, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh, it's an award-winning building,
and the runway there was adequate at the time, and now what do you do it?
The runway that was originally built was 5,500 feet in length. It's 100 feet wide, 11 inches thick.
It's nice concrete.
And all concrete, yes. That was basically the maximum amount that the FAA would fund for this type of location. At the time, they said, come back to us when you can prove that you need more, and we will fund it. Well, they held up their part of the bargain.
And you did.
We did have to go through the process of justifying it. We did that by documenting flight operations and provided them with the aircraft type and the count of these predominantly jet operations into the airport. We actually exceeded the count required to take us to the next step in terms of runway development. And as a result of that, we qualified for a longer runway. We're building as much runway as we physically have space to utilize on our existing property within the confines of our property that we own, the airport authority owns.
Right.
So we're taking the runway out to 6,200 feet.
Wow,
And
fantastic.
that'll be an additional 700 feet of runway. And the question I get asked frequently is, well, what's the biggest airplane that this will do?
Right.
The biggest airplane type really won't change so much by that addition, but what it does, and the biggest airplane type, to answer that question, is the bigger corporate jets and the small regional jets, like what you find flying, say, between Chattanooga and Atlanta and Chattanooga and Knoxville, or
Oh, wow.
places like that.
Okay.
Larger, the 60 plus passenger size jets.
Oh, okay.
But what we are gaining, what we will really gain by this, is the large corporate jets, such as the type that Whirlpool flies in and Jones Airways flies and others. NetJets flies in here. Those would be the Gulfstreams, the G4s, G5s, the Global Express type aircraft, the Falcon 900s, Falcon 80s, things like that. Those airplanes are not able to realize the performance limitations of the aircraft right now. They don't have adequate runway at 5,500 feet to be able to take off with a full load of fuel and go to the design limits of the aircraft, what it was designed to do. Those airplanes are designed to fly 3,000 plus nautical miles. Now they have to stop somewhere in that flight. So once we put this additional 700 feet of runway on, we will be able to operate flights without any issues, say, to the West Coast, over to Europe,
Wow.
places like that. So we can do Europe now. We have done Europe now out of Cleveland directly.
Fantastic.
But we want to be able to go deeper into Europe. We're limited now to landing from Cleveland. You'd have to land in, say, Ireland or in England, London, Gatwick, Stansted, somewhere in England. So now, with this additional runway, we'll be able to go all the way to Paris and nonstop from here. So, which
Fantastic.
is really what our goal is.
Right, but now those are corporate jets. That's not me walking in out there asking for a ticket to Paris.
No, we're not in that business.
That's right.
That's not the type of airplane or airport we are. If you want to do that, that would be an air carrier airport, which
go
is
Chattanooga
like
or
Chattanooga, Knoxville, Nashville, Memphis, Tri-Cities. Those are
Right, and I think when we were first building the airport, that was part of the concept that people couldn't understand. We're not gonna sell tickets and fly you somewhere.
No, ours is a general, what broad classification called a general aviation airport in support of recreational and business type flight activity.
Okay, now let's talk you, because you said stopping to refuel. That's one marvelous thing about our Jetport, because people can stop and refuel. And that's how we make a little bit of money.
That's how we make the majority of our money, is on
more than a little
fuel
bit.
sales. Yeah, there's two real revenue sources on any airport. It's land leases or property leases and fuel sales. That's basically where money is made in aviation. So obviously fuel sales is a large component to our, we're selling round figures close to 30,000 gallons a month right now of fuel. So it fluctuates depending on what the weather's doing. If the guys that are the recreational pilots, if the weather's bad, they don't fly as much. So obviously fuel sales, you don't have that market, a fuel sale, but predominantly most of our fuel is sold as jet fuel by probably a 10-to-1 factor.
Wow.
Yeah, significantly
Well,
more.
I know Caleb asked you before we started the show, what's the average planes that come in and go out every day at the Jetport?
Yeah, our FAA records indicate that we have 23 average flight operations per
Wow.
day. So that can be as something as simple as a student coming in, landing, and taking off soon thereafter, or airplane coming in, landing, they stay here for a few days, then leave. So, but a flight operation is considered a landing and a takeoff. So we have
Gotcha.
26 or 23 evolutions like that
And
per
that's
day
busy.
average. That's fairly busy for an airport that's, you know, a little over 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
We are factually well ahead of our schedule as far as development of the airport. We have several hangars on the property, corporate hangars, privately owned hangars, and we're now about to commence phase 2 of the development of the property, which will take us up to the north of where we are presently occupy, and that is a plan that we did not envision having to move into for a few years yet.
Great
So,
problem to have.
yeah, I actually am down to really two locations now for hangars, and they're smaller type hangars.
Wow.
So large hangars are large hangar spots are all taken.
Well, my producer's saying we just have a minute or two left, but you do have some areas of the airport that are rentable for events?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. We do have 3 conference rooms in the building, and I'd urge you to contact me. We can discuss that. My phone number is 423-472-4343, and I'd be happy to show anybody the facility and show them the options that we've got for a conference room. They're all beautiful rooms that are very accommodating, and really a great place to have to conduct business.
Absolutely.
This coming, as an example, this coming Friday, we're having a high school graduation party.
Oh,
So we've had wedding receptions, graduation parties, of course, routine business out there. So it's really a great facility.
it is. And I will
Great.
say there is a catering kitchen
There is.
off of the large room, and
Yes.
we made sure that there was a catering
Yeah,
kitchen.
it's a full commercial kitchen.
And another thing, I think anybody that might want to take their child out there to watch planes take off and come in,
Yeah.
up on the second floor, there's that little area where they can step out
Yeah.
and just have a big time.
Yeah, inside and outside observation decks, and we have places for people to come out and sit out on the back porch, and we have a grill out there, and come on out and have a good time.
I think we did really good planning on that
You did.
airport facility, and we want the people from the community to go out there and enjoy it. So
It's their airport.
that's
They need to come out
exactly
and
right.
use it.
And I can't think of anything any more fun than to take your child who's 6 or 7 years old out there and let them watch. The first time I watched a plane come in and take
Yeah.
off, of course there was ice. It was the day of the open house. So there was ice everywhere, but it was still fascinating.
Yeah.
And so I think a small child would really enjoy
Oh, yeah,
that.
yeah, and we have introductory flights. You can go up in an airplane they'll take you up for 45 minutes and
Wow.
drive you around and let you fly the airplane, and the
Oh,
whole works.
good.
So
Remind me not to get on the plane with somebody. Mark, great to see
good
you,
seeing
because I
you too,
haven't seen
Nancy.
you in forever. And thank you so much for being on with us today, because I think our community really doesn't know what a jewel we have out there.
well, it is a tremendous tool for this community in many ways, many respects. And people, I'd encourage people to come out and see what they have here in Cleveland, because they do have something to be very proud of.
They really do. I know Sandra Rowland calls it the doorway to Cleveland.
It is.
And it is.
It is that.
It is.
So,
Mark, thank you
Thank you,
so
Nancy.
much.
Thank you
Folks,
very
don't
much.
go away. I'll be right back to tell you about upcoming events that are going to be happening in Cleveland and Bradley County. So again, watch our commercials and support our sponsors, because they help pay our bills. And I'll be right back.